Welcome back to Animal Needs Impel Monetary Expenditure. I am an animal that has no needs, Grenchler, and with me
is Wooper. I'm a Pokemon with many needs.
Such as rare candies and other funny things.
Yeah, sure.
This is a podcast about anime, though, not Pokemon or animals, even though Pokemon is an anime.
Pokemon's an anime. And there have been plenty of anime with animals in them. They even both start with A.N.I.M.E.
A.N.I.M.E.
Yeah.
Animation.
There's lots of kids shows, like kids anime that run for years and years on end, and they have like chibi animal mascots and stuff.
Or Agretsuko.
They'd probably be fun to watch. Yeah, I'm in the middle of season 2 of Agretsuko right now. Pretty good, although A.N.I.M.E. is worst boy.
Yes.
He's a crazy psycho character, and don't know how I feel about him.
Well, we'll figure it out.
No,
or at
we
least
won't.
you will. Because we're actually going to figure out Carole Tuesday,
Episode 10.
Kimetsu no Yaiba,
Episodes 8, 9, and 10.
and Macross Plus.
Yeah, since Planetes ended, we decided to pick up a new thingamajig, and it's going to be Macross Plus, which is of interest to us because we're both fans of Bebop. And this is directed by the same guy, Shinichiro Watanabe. And it has, it shares some staff. But actually, I was looking through the staff listings, and there wasn't quite as much shared DNA as I thought there was going to be. Same writer, though. And I can't remember her name. It's Keiko something. I think her last name starts with an N, and it's really too bad that I can't remember it now. Not Nagamoto, something like that. Anyway, a few shared staff members, but actually the core teams were a lot different.
Was it because they were different studios?
Sunrise has historically been the Gundam studio, so I doubt they did Macross Plus.
Right.
Sunrise was Bebop.
Yep.
So
that I do know, actually.
I don't know what studio handled the production of Macross Plus. I mean, Satellite has been the studio to do a lot of Macross stuff recently, but I don't know if that goes as far back as the mid-90s.
Well,
I mean, you can just look it up with a quick Google search, whatever.
So just Google it now and behold the answer.
You can Google this. You can Google it if you're listening to this. It's fine.
Anyways, let's talk about something slightly more current, excuse me.
Concurrent works. Whatever.
Like Yaiba. Did we start with that last time?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We can just start off with the Kimetsu no Yaiba this time. And oh god. Oh, you go first, man. I was falling asleep while watching episode 10. Like I literally fell asleep at some points. And then before we started recording this, we had a discussion about there was some plot point that I had completely missed because I was dozing.
Right.
How'd you feel about these episodes?
I liked how they started 8. They do the flashback, of course, that every shonen series does.
Not really a flashback, just a recap.
Yeah,
of what happened in the previous episode.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's more like a recap.
Yeah.
So that starts. Oh no, there's a demon here. And then
More than one.
Intro are two friendly demon bros, or bro and bro-s.
Broette.
Broette? Is it broette or bro-s?
I don't know.
Either way.
It's actually Tamayo and what's the other guy's name? Did I even write down the other guy's name?
I didn't. I wrote down Tamayo's name, though.
Oh, Kizuki.
Okay.
Wait, no, that's wrong.
Oh.
Hold up.
Wait.
Yushiro. So the woman whose character actually matters is Tamayo, and the male servant or attendant, whatever you would call him.
I think attendant is probably right.
His name is Yushiro, and his character was just annoying, bothersome,
and
unimportant.
Well, I mean, he lets Tanjiro see the arrows.
He cast the spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she could have done that.
Well, no, because they each have different kinds of magic.
Yeah, they have different demon blood arts.
So his is like
demons.
A sight of some sort. Maybe,
but
maybe she couldn't see them.
Well, maybe, but in terms of actually constructing the story and writing, coming up with these characters and writing them, I don't feel as though he had a lot of value. You could have folded whatever he contributed to the story, in terms of combat, like battle,
into her
character. Yeah, because she's already special. She was able to
he did
turn someone into a demon.
Right. He did seem like just a vessel for like explanation of, oh, now lady is doing this, and if this happens to this person, rather than her doing like a self monologue, it's like someone else explaining it.
Yeah, but even beyond that, because that is still somewhat useful for him to deliver information to the audience. What he mostly did was like say, hey, hands off, Tanjiro, this, she's mine. Grr.
She's mine. I like my ladies much, much, much older.
Well, when did he get turned into a demon?
We don't know.
He could be super old too. Yeah, I don't remember if there was a flashback to the moment when he was like made into a demon. I think we only saw him kind of, lying in bed when she tells him, I can make you into a demon.
It's like, you'll survive, but you'll drink human blood for the rest of your life.
You're going to be a demon. I don't remember any context clues from that scene because it was just him in a dark room. I don't know like what time period it was.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But he could be pretty old.
Yeah, we don't get a sense of that. What I liked about episode 8 though, was they actually established Kibutsuji as being just blatantly evil.
You like that?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that last time. I wished that they would have held off on that for a little longer. But then we get the scene in the alleyway.
Yeah.
Where he's definitely like, not only is he evil, he's insane.
I would imagine if you were 1,000 years old and like the first of a reviled species, that you'd probably be pretty evil. Like Satan was the first fallen angel, the first real demon. He's probably pretty fucking evil.
I guess, but this is a story. I mean, it's not like that story. It's a newer story. You got plenty of time to learn from older stories.
I mean, in shonens, don't we need just like super clear-cut villains?
No.
I mean, I know we
Definitely
don't, but
not.
I just mean like
watch Hunter x Hunter
for baby audiences. Be like, here's the bad person. This is why we're fighting him.
You don't. No, it doesn't need to be that clear cut.
I know.
I don't think so.
I don't think it needs to be that clear either, but it is. And I like when the show will actually show us that the villain is evil rather than...
You just want a scene where he kicks puppies?
Well, rather than just being told like, wow, this person is evil, I need to fight them, and having like no evidence of their character or no build up to it or anything like that.
I wouldn't say there was any build up to this guy being evil. We meet him at the end of episode 7, and then in the middle of episode 8, he beats 2 dudes to a pulp and then horrifically turns another one into like a mass of
sludge,
bloody flesh.
Yep.
I wouldn't say there was much build up there.
Well, it's more than just running into someone and having been told the entire time this person is evil, and then there's a fight and the hero wins. Rather than actually
never
seeing
happens.
anything. It's just, I'm sure it does.
I don't know what you're on about, dude. Confused.
Whatever.
No, I was, he's definitely crazy. I mean, they did a good job of making him seem insane.
Right.
And what sets him off in particular is that the guy says, you look like you're about to, keel over dead. Because when he's, interrogating the woman that he quickly thereafter turns into, a gross, gooey mess. He says, oh yeah, do I look sickly to you? Do I look like I'm about to die to you? So that's obviously what set him off. So he's afraid of dying, He's trying to hang on to life as he experiences it now, I guess.
Or maybe he's just gotten that comment his whole life. He just wanted to be a person. He was cursed. And for the rest of his life, people just made fun of him. Oh man, he's got pale skin. Looking like Michael Jackson over there, man.
So that's why he turned into this millennium spanning ultimate evil.
It's because people were teasing him about his skin.
similar backstories have been written for monstrous characters, you know.
I mean, there's only so many ways you can write evil.
I also don't agree with that. There are as many ways that you could write a villain as there are that you could write a hero or an ordinary man or woman. Like, you're writing a story. There's no, despite the fact that you're going to base a lot of elements of your story on things that you've experienced before, read before, seen before, you know, that you do have like unlimited directions in which you can go. Your imagination is the limit.
Okay.
That's my philosophy.
His
on
philosophy here.
We also, speaking of what's his name, Kibutsuji,
Right.
He has some kind of special connection with Tanjiro because of the earrings. He recognizes his earrings.
Right. That was either a demon slayer who nearly killed him, which it probably was, considering he was holding a red sword, which we know those are super rare.
Yeah. Just the colored swords in general.
Right. Red is a rare color.
I didn't know that red was a rare color. I thought the only one we knew for sure was rare was black, because
black's only rare because they die.
Right. I didn't know red was a rare color as well.
The guy who delivers it is like, I hope it turns red. I haven't seen a red one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Details.
Yeah, you gotta get those details. That's true. Sometimes I miss those because I'm nodding off.
Maybe you should just, watch it when you're awake instead of like, oh man, I'm about to go to bed. Better watch this anime.
It was the middle of the day. It was like 4 p.m.
Then
so not the middle of the day.
Why are you falling asleep at 4 o'clock?
Dude, I watched 3 episodes of Demon Slayer in a row and they made me tired. Like,
I watched 3 episodes of them in a row and I wasn't tired.
Okay. It just didn't involve me at all.
Watching stuff doesn't involve people.
Okay, well,
it's not like you're pressing buttons on a controller or thinking critically.
I am thinking critically or trying to. When I'm not given a lot of material, my brain tends to power down.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
I'm trying to come up with things to say about these episodes. Leave me alone.
The flowers were cool.
Yeah, they were cool. That's actually the screen cap that I picked for this week.
Yeah.
It was him with all the flowers in the background.
There's that one, and then in episode 10, when she does it again, it takes on like more of a liquid form. Rather than being like ribbons of flowers everywhere, it's more like a liquid kind of perfumey stuff that's all over. Pretty cool looking there too.
Yeah, I do remember that difference. Although I wonder if they just didn't want to go through the hassle of what they did in episode 8 again. Don't
know. But it still looked cool.
Yeah, it did. And we get a clue somewhere in one of these episodes that I guess it's in episode 8. The cops can actually see the flowers. They're like, what are all these flowers?
Right.
So all of these, the waves, the little ribbons of water that extend from his sword.
These are literal. These aren't figurative.
The arrows are actually visible, I would hazard a guess, because the flowers were visible too, Even though I thought at first when I saw them, they're just supposed to represent, like a scent or some sort of mind control.
It is supposed to represent a scent.
Yeah, but
maybe it causes the person to hallucinate them. Maybe they're not actually there.
No, I mean, I think they are actually there because the cops are like, "What are these flowers?"
Are you sure it's not what are this flower smell?
No, they're like, "What are these? What are these flowers?"
Okay,
I saw that, and this was when I was still awake, and I was like, "Huh?"
I mean, I hope you're still awake. This was at the start of the episode.
Yeah. I didn't disengage that quickly. They're neat looking. They certainly, contribute to her character as being like, kind of graceful and otherworldly.
Right.
It fits in with that. So it's, it's good design, I would say. And then they go back to their house and they spend a lot of time talking.
Yep. A lot of exposition.
Yeah. We get a kind of roadmap or a game plan for perhaps the next few arcs, going forward is established when she when he's like, oh, okay, so how do I turn my sister back into a human being?
I need to
A real human being.
A real human being. A real boy. Real grill.
Right.
So they need the blood of the 12. What was the proper name?
Yeah, it was like Demon Moons or something like that.
Yeah, the 12 Demon Moons.
The actual, it's Kizuki, the title
right
that they're given. The 12 people who like serve, the 12 apostles. You know, we were talking about, what were we talking about from the Bible a second ago? Oh, Satan.
Right.
Being the first fallen angel. There's like 12 apostles, you know, who serve Kibutsuji. And
gotta hunt all them down and get their blood.
Gotta get their blood. And then once we get all their bloods, then we can make a serum and inject it into Nezuko, and then he'll be hot again.
Yep.
The world will be saved.
That is how you save the world. So, we also learn in these episodes that Kibutsuji kind of rules with an iron fist.
Oh, yeah, because of what happens to Sasa, what's her name?
Sasamaru. I just wrote ball girl.
Yeah, Sasamaru, the ball girl with 6 arms.
Yeah.
Because of what happens to her when she dies in episode 10. Like, she says his name.
And it's like the Voldemort curse, except physical instead of just theoretical.
What's the Voldemort?
Remember, it's like you can't say his name. It's like taboo. So like for demons, it was taboo, but there was a reason for it.
Yeah, but there wasn't any actual curse surrounding Voldemort's name until book 7, when like somehow they put a spell on the word Voldemort, which would summon people.
It would like ping as a location.
Yeah. Yeah, but in this one, he does. I mean, I guess the idea is that he doesn't want any information about himself being spread. So, yeah, the arms come out of like emerge, those really putrid, like rotted looking arms.
Yeah.
Like burst out of her belly and her mouth.
And tear her to pieces.
Yeah.
And kill her.
Yeah, but not really, because she's still alive as the sun is rising. And Tanjiro like hears her final words, "Play with me."
Right.
So there were actually a lot of elements from these 3 episodes that reminded me of the arm neck demon from the test on the mountain
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the garnering of sympathy for demons, because he was the same. Like he was turned into a demon. He devoured his own brother, and then he was trapped on that mountain. So at the end, after Tanjiro like cuts him up,
he sees his brother again in that like field of flowers.
Yeah, but as far as what Tanjiro experiences, he like connects arms, he connects hands with the demon, and like he feels his pain. Like instinctually. And in this one, it's the same. He hears the woman's voice.
And gives the ball to like what's left of her hand.
Right. And there was another similarity. What was it? Oh, yes. Kibutsuji recalling a past experience with the Demon Slayer, the one with the earrings, which connects him to Tanjiro. That's the same as the arm neck guy recognizing something about Tanjiro and connecting him to Urokodaki.
Right.
Although I don't remember what it was. Was it just his uniform or?
It was the mask.
Oh, yes. The cat mask.
Yep.
Or the fox mask. One of those. That's right. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of similar motifs being repeated already. Not necessarily a bad thing, but if you keep going back to them over and over, like even beyond these episodes, then I think that would be a cause for concern. Because, you know,
at that point, you're just repeating yourself.
Right. And if you keep going back to it, it's going to lose its impact. So we talked about Susamaru, but there was also Arrow Guy.
Right.
Did you like Arrow Guy? And how he didn't want his
kimono to be dirty, dusty?
Whatever it was he was wearing. Yeah. He didn't want it to get dirty. He just wanted to be clean. He just wanted to stay clean.
Maybe it's because he just doesn't want dust in his eyes.
Hey, mate, you know, I didn't think about that. But yeah, if he's got eyes in his face and eyes on his hands, then dust would probably be a real issue.
So just doesn't like dust.
Yeah. I mean, who can blame him?
After all, he's the Arrow.
Was there any reference to him being called like the Arrow?
No.
You're just talking about the CW show?
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
I mean, it was a cool fight, even if it was a little longer than it should have been, because it was
dude, episode 9 that's what kind of made me start to drift away from the show. It was just the whole thing was the fight, which wasn't even concluded.
Yeah.
In that episode, I was like, "Ooh, man, this is feeling like some One Piece stuff right now."
I don't know. I don't think One Piece is that flashy.
Yeah, perhaps not with like the CG Tanjiro jumping around and dodging all the arrows and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it still looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it perhaps not.
And he beats the arrow guy in that episode.
That's true, but Susanoo is still alive.
Right, but
like the fight is not concluded.
Well, I mean, Tanjiro's fight is, because he doesn't fight Susanoo. The lady.
Yes, he does at first, and then Nezuko joins the fight, and they kind of switch targets.
Well, yeah, they start the fight, they switch. Tanjiro wins, but he's out for the count.
Right,
like he can't fight.
Yeah, he's crawling towards them, like using just his arms at the end there,
like holding the sword in his mouth. Like, I can still fight. Don't take me out, coach.
Yeah, but then Tamayo is like, "I got this, guys.
Let me just trick you into saying a word, and then you'll kill yourself."
I mean, honestly, not a bad way to end the fight for me. I like the idea because it further reinforces. This is a way of reinforcing the fact that Kibutsuji is evil without going into a dark alleyway and having him pulverize people.
Without him just literally killing 3 people.
It's a more interesting way of telling the audience this guy is like really. Not only is he very sinister, he's paranoid.
Because she talks about like the reason demons don't like gang up against him is like he's scared, and he's like controlling and manipulative of everyone to keep himself as like this mythical creature.
Right Yeah, that's why they're always alone, although these two are partnered up, but I guess they can't get together in like big gangs and stuff. How can we wrap this up? How did we do the part of the reason that I was so unenthused about what's his name's character, Yushido? I'm trying to get my.
It's because he kept just being. It's like, oh, she's so beautiful.
Well, yeah, but like the very last thing that we get from him is, hey, Tanjiro, your sister's not too bad looking after all. Like, what? This is how we come full circle on his character. I mean, he's probably going to show up again because Tamayo is so significant.
Right.
And he's going to be shadowing her like a beta orbiter. But like that's the note that we end on with him. Like,
yeah, that's just like,
his character was not that important if that's what we're left with. Or whatever.
Instead of being like, someday if you train your sight, you can see what I can, or something sage or wise or whatever. We got your sister's kind of hot, dog.
Yeah, if the fact
Thank you.
The fact that he has this ability to grant people sight, if that had been more integral to like this foundation that we've been given for his character, that would have been nice.
Like he can turn invisible and he like hides things' presence. The fact that their house is hidden behind a wall and is a shadow is his magic. Right. He can hide things. So he can hide himself, and because he can hide things, he can see things as well. I don't know.
I guess.
Power over sight.
Yeah. And over perception.
Yep.
So how to wrap things up, how about the very last scene with Lightning Boy?
Oh yeah, trying to get a girl to marry her before he dies. He's like, I don't want to die a virgin. Pretty much.
Are you excited to see more of him?
I'm excited to have more characters that might stick around and do something cool.
Yeah, he is a character from most of the characters who we've been introduced to at this point have been in the opening theme,
Right.
He's also in the ED though. Like at the very end, he and Pig Mask, who we still haven't.
I skipped the ED just to get to the little thing at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're like.
Yep. Just like 2 frames of speaking.
Yeah. They jump out of the manga. I thought Lightning Guy's voice was annoying. Like, I am not looking forward to hearing more of his voice in the next episode, assuming that we do.
Don't worry, Tanjiro will help him grow confident and fight better. Because every main character in a shonen has to be inspiring.
Right.
And transform everyone around them like a beacon of justice and leveling up.
Right, leveling up. That's important. Yeah, I mean, sure, his character, he seems kind of like wimpy and voice is like grating. How are we doing on time here? 20 minutes?
25.
What the fuck? Oh God, okay. Yeah, we're gonna see him next episode and
and fuck that shit. On to Carole Tuesday.
Okay.
There
what
we
are you
go.
clicking?
My notes.
Carole Tuesday. You said that we're not gonna have a lot to talk about.
I mean, there's a couple things, but the bulk of this was just the performances.
Yeah, that's true.
We got 3 performances in.
Yeah, and of course Angela has to beat the FKA Twigs
Right.
knockoff, even though Angela's song was so uninteresting this week. It was so boring.
Yeah. I mean,
we
it was
didn't even
just
get to
like,
hear the chorus.
like generic happy pop song. Here's a verse, and I win.
Yeah, that we didn't even hear the chorus. It was cut off like at the moment when it would have transitioned.
Yep.
Really bizarre editing choice.
I mean,
I
it
don't
wasn't. Is that bizarre editing or directing? Because it's not like they animated it and finished it, then they decided, now we got to cut that out.
I mean, I wouldn't be so sure.
Unless they storyboarded it with it in there and then cut it for time or cost.
Yeah, I mean, this airs on Japanese TV before it goes to Netflix. So time is a factor. I mean, given how awkward and abrupt the end of Angela's performance was, I wouldn't doubt that there was like a little bit more.
That had actually been recorded for it.
Well, I have no doubt that it's an actual song, like a full, let's say 3.5 minute pop song.
Right, like the soundtrack will have all of these songs in their full lengths.
Yeah. But I have almost no doubt in my mind that more, more cuts of animation were produced for this segment and they were just not used because I guess we just had to get more scenes of Tuesday like running around looking for this random stalker girl.
Right.
Which is pretty much all she does in this episode.
Besides,
this show's called Carole Tuesday.
Right.
But they didn't show up except to be like,
Except to be like, hey, where's Tuesday? I don't know. Tuesday. Hey, where's Sibel? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was mostly the performances.
Yeah.
And
we got a guest judge out of the gun.
Yeah, Erdogan is the judge, aka Pitbull. Every time I see his logo, dude, I'm just like, could you get any less subtle styling? But this time I looked at it, like I paused it and looked at it, and you really can see the word Erdogan if you really squint and like purposely
is
misinterpret.
It inside the word Pitbull?
Kind of, yeah. Like if you purposefully misinterpret some of the letters as being like hyper stylized letters of other names, then yes. I don't know how to describe it.
I just read Pitbull every time.
Yeah, I mean that's what it says, but he shows up and he's supposed to be an obstacle for Carole Tuesday to get past.
Right.
Once they eventually perform, which is not now because we just had to spend a whole bunch of time, twiddling our thumbs with this one.
And probably not next episode either.
Oh, why? Because of what happens to Tuesday?
Yeah, she hurts her hand.
Well, how do we know that it's her hand hurt? I just remember like a bunch of gas coming out of the present.
She's holding her hand, and my assumption is that it was dry ice. Because dry ice,
I thought it was some sort of gas.
Dry ice fogs up like that and then rolls on the floor.
Yeah, but how dry ice would hurt her hand?
Yes, dry ice is like negative 10 degrees. It would just frost burn your hand immediately if you touched it.
Okay. Are we talking Fahrenheit or Celsius here?
Both, because at negative 10, they're roughly the same.
Oh, really? Okay.
Something like that.
All right. I'll take your word for it because the conversion formula is, I mean, it's not complicated, but it's not the kind of math that I can recall or do in my head easily.
Yeah,
I
cold.
thought dude, when I first saw it, I thought it was like anthrax or something.
No. Anthrax is a powder.
Yeah, well, I don't know, sarin gas then, like something super serious.
Colorless.
Because she is insane. Like this.
And as you suspect, an agent for the government.
Well, yeah. First of all, I thought she was just going to disappear after the last episode.
Chloe, we're running out of time.
I thought she was just going to, vanish into the ether of, unimportant characters who got too much screen time. But she actually comes back for this. Dude, why is Tuesday attempting to, remember when she says, she stopped messaging me? Why do you want this creepy girl to keep texting you?
It's like the first person who's shown a real interest in her.
Yeah, but it's it's twisted and weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And I think either this is supposed to be showing like how naive Tuesday is about how the world works because she grew up in such a sheltered life.
Yeah, that's probably that.
But yeah, it is like if I met someone and they were just like obsessed with me and wanted to form a band with me and sent me like 9 text messages in 2 minutes, I'd be like, yo, I'm moving to Oregon. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
this bitch cray.
I just don't. This feels like a dead end. Like what? Okay, was the entire point of Sibel's character to generate this drama where Carole and Tuesday can't go on in the semifinals because Tuesday's been hurt? Was that the whole reason that she was a part of this top 8? It's probably. I mean,
they wanted to get a French song in there.
I kind of quote unquote underestimated her, I guess, because she did reappear after I thought she wouldn't. But
why did she reappear?
Yeah. As of right now, it just feels like it was for this opportunity. Oh no, Tuesday's been hurt. Will they be able to go on?
Tune in next time. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it either. It just, everyone who's watching Tuesday is either naively screaming, no, Tuesday, don't run into that, or thinking to themselves, wow, she's fucking dumb.
Yeah, and the whole scene where she and Carole are nearly missing each other when they're trying to
just go through a door and the other one passes.
She gets in the elevator and then Carole runs out and the elevator's doors close right as she enters the lobby. It's just like a mid-90s rom-com. Not great. I'm about done.
I was about to say we also had GGK and Piotr Theater's performance, which again both looked really cool and were interesting songs.
Well, Piotr's was just like a redux of his first one.
Yeah, it was
like a Bruno Mars type of thing.
Yeah, which is that's the reason that Tao in the episode was called an audible.
Well, it was GGK's performance that made him call the audible because that's who Angela was up against.
Right. And it's basically like, hey, we need to shift it so that you're not performing the same song over and over, the same type of song over and over again, because you're going to seem like a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
All you can do is this kind of music when good artists are flexible. Like if you look at Beck's albums, pick a genre, there's probably one out there.
Yeah.
Because his albums have just been everything from X to Q.
Sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Well, when you say Beck on an anime podcast, you might make people think of the anime Beck, which was about music.
Oh.
No relation to Beck.
The artist formerly known as Beck.
Yeah. The artist currently known as Beck.
Yeah.
I believe. Speaking of Tao, he is a manager for a singer whose songs are constructed by AI. You know what other show has a singer, which is an AI, with a manager who wears glasses?
Macross Plus.
That's right.
Man, you're getting good at my bad transitions.
What do you mean? That was perfect. Dude, I definitely noted as I was watching Macross that there are some similarities between Carole and Tuesday and this show. Like the idea of entertainment becoming virtual with Sharon, the AI.
Right.
It's similar. I mean, there are still human performers in Carole and Tuesday, and it's just the songs that are being written by AI. But the idea of entertainment being kind of, I don't know, digitized.
Right, and being fabricated by
Artificial
less than
intelligence.
human means.
Yeah, is a common theme between them.
The only difference being it works in Carole Tuesday and it doesn't work here.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, like the program is incomplete or the technology is incomplete. Right. So let's back up. Talk about Macross Plus from the start, or how do we start this shit?
If we talk about it from the top down, there's an epic fight scene that's completely left in the dust by Planet Side Action.
Dude, look at my mic. It's like slipping.
Tighten it.
It's I can barely tighten it. Whatever.
Anyways,
I was having this problem when I was setting it up too.
Okay.
But that's not what y'all are here to listen to. Yeah, Macross Plus. I mean, like I said when we were introducing the podcast, it's reminiscent of Bebop. I guess it's kind of reminiscent of a couple aspects of Carole Tuesday as well.
Well, it's not reminiscent of Carole Tuesday. Carole Tuesday is reminiscent of it.
Right. Sorry, I was just stalling for time.
Right.
I had to stall for time for a second while we resolved a mic issue. But it does seem to have elements of a few of Watanabe's works in it, I guess. I mean, first of all of his stuff is concerned with music. So it makes sense that he would, if he were to go for like a mecha series, it would be this one because Macross has always got a musical element.
Bebop wasn't concerned with music. The story wasn't, at least. It's just the way he structured the episodes. It was 26 genres of music stretched out through the whole show. So he was concerned with the music during the production, but the show itself only concerned with music once or twice. There was like a folk singer in a lounge that Jet was involved with, and Heavy Metal Queen be the other one I can think of.
I mean, there were probably more.
Probably. It's been a long time since I've seen Bebop.
But anyway.
Macross.
No more saying Bebop for the rest of this podcast.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Macross is great so far. I thought these 2 episodes were awesome. We just watched the first 2. They're each like 38 minutes. So this is like a movie.
Yeah.
Like a
2-hour movie.
No, I mean, significantly less than that.
Well, no, 30 will be 2 hours total.
Well, it would be nearly 2.5 because they're like 38 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about these 2 episodes. When you put them together, it's kind of like a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like part 1.
A movie with a cliffhanger. It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to break my promise right away. Bebop. There is like a big similarity to how Bebop is set up. There's 2 main male characters. They're rivals. They're both interested in the same woman. That's Spike, Vicious, and Julia.
Right.
It's the same. That's Bebop's backstory. And it's also the backstory of Macross Plus. You got Isamu, Gold, and Myung is the female character.
Yep.
She's the one who functions as like Sharon's personality.
And Sharon's voice, most likely.
Do you think so? I didn't note whether there was any similarity. Why do you think she refuses
to sing? If she would sing and people would be like, wow, you sound exactly like that AI.
I didn't pick up on that. Yeah, maybe Sharon's voice is based on Myung's voice as well.
Right.
But like during the concert, it's just her laid down on the table with that laser like beaming into her brain. So it's just the personality
it's her emotion
that she's supplying. Yeah, the emotion. Because when Yang, the hacker, when he attempts to
download her, essentially.
Right. Not during the concert, because he does that as well. Like he tries to summon her during the concert. But then later, when he's in his room and he's trying to hack the program to download it, he's like, I can't find the emotional drive or the emotional program.
Right.
So that's what's missing.
It's an incomplete AI.
Supplying that.
There seems to be a theme here that AI aren't capable of doing everything by themselves. There is a component of them that has to be supplied by a human brain.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people want us to believe because it's a nice message, but I don't know. We may eventually get to the point where AI are like totally functional, where they can learn to emote.
It would be a simulation of emoting, but it would.
Well,
but it would be.
Would it be
imperceivable indifference from a human emotion.
Yeah. So at that point, isn't it just emotion?
No.
Why?
Someone created it.
Someone, like our DNA is with what quote unquote creates us, which is made by, reproduction. Like you're,
getting all ghost in the shell on me.
I mean, I'm not intending for it to be that, deep or whatever. But if we are able to create an AI that perfectly replicates emotion, at least as far as we're able to recognize it or categorize it, then what's the difference?
Sentience.
Again, what is the difference? Like if their ability to learn and
it isn't born and it doesn't die.
It's born when it's created and it dies when the machine. I mean, you could even program in artificial death after a certain amount of time or after a certain amount of experience has been gained.
Right, but someone has to write all of that. Whereas
your DNA is your code.
We're not written by someone. Someone doesn't sit down and program out the logic for how we do, unless higher power.
Your mother, like when you're in the womb,
right?
Your mother is doing that. Your code is being written,
right? Well, it's not being written; it's being assembled.
What else is typing out code but assembling a product?
If anybody ever thinks that a machine that gains, full autonomy is actual sentience, you're just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are pretty young, so we're most likely going to live to see this debate taken to like a worldwide scale where it's like the most pressing concern of humanity. In 50 years, this is going to be like, there are going to be people legislating about like machine rights. It's probably going to happen.
It's Deus Ex is going to be real.
There you go. We haven't talked much about Macross Plus, have we?
No, not really.
It's really cool looking.
Yes, and that
counts for something.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
counts for a lot.
Every time we go back and watch like an older show that's done like this, I think we only tend to watch like really legendary shows from in the 90s, because you're not going back and being like, all right, let's watch the PVs from the 90s, pick 10 of them and see what's good. We're going back and being like,
it's cherry picking.
This is great. Yeah. So we always end up seeing one that looks, amazing, like 08th MS Team, Bebop, this show, Trigun,
Trigun actually does not look great.
A couple scenes do.
Maybe, but I've rewatched it somewhat recently. I did not get all the way through because I was like, oh my God, this was a second-rate effort.
Yeah, but it
looks good.
Yeah,
and it's cool that it looks good, man.
Yeah,
like the animated backgrounds in that scene that we actually watched together from the first episode,
right?
Where it's establishing Isamu's character as like the hot shot,
right? The hot shot pilot,
yeah,
who literally demotes him, who literally keeps himself from promotion just so he can keep flying.
Yeah, because he wants to be like part of the action.
Yeah, instead of stuck behind a desk, being like, all right, everyone else go do what I want to do.
Yeah, but he also might not be cut out for leadership.
Probably not.
And then we've got Gold. So I guess since you haven't seen Macross before, I should explain what
Gold is a different race.
Right. He is shit. I was about to be all knowledgeable, but I can't. Oh, Zentradi. That's right.
Yeah.
So Zentradi in the original Macross are a race of humanoid aliens who are like genetically identical to humans, to the point where they can actually breed. And I guess I don't know how the baby comes out exactly. It probably comes out like Gold, to be honest. He doesn't have like the green skin, green and purple, I think, that the Zentradi had in the original series. Nor is he giant, because they're literal giants. Zentradi are.
Well, Well, it doesn't matter too much to this story. The only time it's mentioned is basically like they have a stronger fight or flight response, I guess, than humans do.
They're more aggressive, which is not something I would have expected to have occurred, because this is set in the future after the events of the original Macross, when like there's a war between the humans and the Zentradi, and the humans win because of the power of song, essentially. Like the Zentradi are enthralled by music. And there's a whole thing with like that explains the significance of our culture as it relates to the proto culture, which was, I don't know, it doesn't really matter too much, but I was surprised that they referenced like his aggression as being a Zentradi trait, because this is post SDF Macross.
Right.
But I guess they've chosen to, since he's more of like the villain character, he's not really a villain. He does save Myung from the burning building.
Right. He's not a villain. He's just an antagonist to our character because of their shared past.
Yeah, I guess he does play an antagonistic role, at least in relation to Isamu, because they're both after the same woman, and they're both like
vying for the same government money.
Yeah, they are
competing test pilots for different companies. I don't know
if it's the government though. Yeah, I think they're probably private corporations.
Well, the private corporations are creating the jets, but the government is deciding who gets the money. Because the front of the
government being the third party.
Right. The front of the building that they're testing at says UN on it.
Yeah. I mean, but the corporations that they're representing are like,
no, they're mentioned by name. I just didn't write it down.
Yeah, I did, but I guess it doesn't matter. I'm not going to look through all this shit.
19 versus 21.
Yeah. Oh, I found it. Shinsei Industries versus General Galaxy.
General Galaxy.
Yeah. There you go.
Sounds like someone you would get like a space refrigerator from.
Kind of.
Instead of General Electric.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
And they fight, like they get into conflict multiple times.
Yeah.
And not just when they're in their mechs either. I think there's probably a scene where one of them like grabs the other by the collar.
Yeah.
In the cafeteria.
Yeah, in the second episode.
Yeah.
And the first episode, they get in each other's face and everything.
But the mech fights are a lot more intense.
Well,
and they're transforming mechs. That's also a staple of Macross.
It's a plane that turns into a human.
Right.
Or humanoid.
Right. It's a plane that turns into a mech. And they fight in them. And at the end of episode 2, there's that scene where Gold is like getting pummeled by Isamu, but then he sees like a gun on the ground or something. I actually can't remember too clearly what it was. But he sees something on the ground and like a weapon, and then we cut back to the viewing room where everyone's like cheering them on like it's a boxing match.
Yeah.
And then you hear like a big explosion.
All right, and his mech gets knocked back, and it's like covered in like dust and heat and stuff like that. But it was interesting. So he's laying on his back, but his right arm had been pulled off, and he sees it like destroyed on the ground to the right. So I'm wondering,
that's what he sees, his arm.
Yeah,
I thought it was a gun or some kind of weapon that he could use to like rebuff Isamu.
No,
and he was conflicted because like it might kill him or might cause him like serious damage. I thought that was supposed to be the cliffhanger.
No, I mean like we see him pull something, and I think we're led to believe that it's like an ejector seat or something.
I know what you're talking about, but no, I don't think
that red handle. When he looks to the right, there might have been something else there, but the main thing that I caught from the shot was like the destroyed arm was on the ground.
Okay, well maybe I just misinterpreted what that arm was.
Yeah, but then there's an explosion of some sort. Like
I mean, that's still the cliffhanger. Like, what happened between them? How did Isamu get blown back?
My thought is he uses that ejector seat, and then it causes the mech to self-destruct.
There's no way.
So why else would there be a big explosion?
I don't know.
I'm just going to set off a bomb 2 feet from me. That's not going to kill me. But if he ejects out and then it blows up.
But I don't think the mech blew up. Because then you don't get any more mech fights. And that's one of the whole points of Macross is fights between mechs. Well, and also idols who sing.
They build another one.
I guess.
Or they fix it or what the hell ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot more than just the conflict between those two.
I don't know. That's
That's
central to like all of it,
right.
I think.
But I think the underlying is they're like the central character, or the central character driven story. But the other part is like the science behind like the AIs, and because the guy who's working on Sharon Apple is doesn't
Tao
want,
guy,
doesn't want the fact that it's not a complete AI to be known,
right?
And I'm not sure if that's because complete AI don't exist yet and they're touting themselves as the first one, or it
would just ruin the illusion for her millions and millions of fans,
being like it's actually a person that's controlling most of it, because she's got like those digital strings on her hands, like kind of controlling the show and whatever.
Who does?
Young?
Oh, I missed that. I thought the only way in which she was synced up was the laser.
No, because she also has like these like puppeteer strings coming out of her like hands.
I completely missed that. Wow,
Yeah.
that like kind of recontextualizes that whole scene during the concert, like the third song, because we get a bunch of different songs.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
And the third one where she does the solo.
The third one is the one where she kisses Isamu.
Right.
Through Sharon. But I didn't realize that she was like had more control over Sharon than just providing her emotions. I mean, I guess the end result is somewhat similar, because either way, it's like her feelings for Isamu that are motivating that behavior from Sharon. But yeah, I missed the strings.
And then so that
go ahead.
I was going to say that leads us into the AI setting a fire.
Yeah, you also thought it was the AI that set the fire?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the AI that opens the door for Gold. Like it.
Right.
My theory is that the AI wants to experience love.
Right. It wants to know. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. It has a sense of what love is, but it can't experience the emotion the way that humans can. So it's trying to construct
live it
a
through
scenario.
her.
Right. Because that's why it summons both Isamu and Gold, because it probably however, it recognizes that those are the two guys who really love her, or perhaps whom she loves.
Right.
And so it traps her in a burning building. It sets a fire. It summons those two guys. And then when Gold is like trying to ram the door,
and it looks and it's like, oh, look, there it is, and opens the door.
Yeah. There's a big focus on, especially in episode 2, whenever Myung is on screen, there's a big focus on lenses. You'll see an image, a close-up image of a lens, or you'll see something through a camera's eye, or just that motif pops up over and over whenever Myung is on screen. So like she's being observed.
The AI is watching her.
Yeah, that's what we're meant to gather from that, I think. So yeah, the AI, Gold is like bam, 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 and he busts his shoulder up completely, and then Sharon, I guess, is like, oh, okay, you're here. Sorry, I was busy.
I was getting coffee.
Yeah, let me open the door for you. Then they go back to his apartment, I guess.
Right.
And so it seems that she is in love with both guys. But there have also been a couple flashbacks. In episode 1, I think there was a flashback to a moment where she, like Myung, when she was younger and had longer hair, as we see in the very first scene. Do you remember the scene where like they're both trying to get their flying machine launched off the ground?
Yeah.
So you see that Myung back then had longer hair. So that's what made me think that the girl in the flashback with the longer hair, and her clothing is kind of ripped and tattered, and Isamu is standing over her like protectively. And it's a POV shot, so you're seeing it from a third person's point of view, looking at them, and it's probably Gold.
Right.
And we know that he struggles to like keep his aggressive tendencies in check. So in the past, he probably like assaulted her.
Right, which we see in another flashback in the second episode.
Yeah, I remember that, but what was the nature of that flashback again? It was when he's piloting, right? Because he's hooked up. His brain is like hooked up to the machine.
It's the other half of the AI that controls it, because it says that he's only in control of 50% of the plane.
Okay.
The other 50% is the computer.
Okay. So, but what is it that he sees? I can't remember exactly which images flash through his head.
It's Isamu and Myung. Like the room is lit red, and there is like furniture is like scattered all over the place. Her clothes are like disheveled. And
That's the one I'm thinking of.
right.
But there was a second flashback while he was driving the plane, wasn't there?
There was a second one other than that? No, it was just that one.
I don't think that's right.
There was a second one where it was like a shot of what looked like 3 rockets had gone off. And then there was, that looked like willow trees or something. And
yes,
there was
I know.
A bicycle upside down and some parts.
That I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. That's his flashback when he's in the plane, isn't it?
I don't have the sequence down.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just remember, I think the whole thing where Myung's clothes are in tatters, I think that was from episode 1. And then episode 2 is I thought there was another reference to that.
I thought they were both in that episode.
Okay, I'm looking at my notes here, and no. There's a flashback while Gold is flying, showing Myung wearing tattered clothes with Dyson kneeling protectively over her. Dyson being Isamu's last name. Yeah, so that happens in episode 1, but then the episode 2 thing must have been the
bike and the 3 rockets that took off, and the willow tree and the woman crying.
That actually reminded me of Bebop, like, quite heavily. All of Spike's flashbacks to his time with Vicious and Julia are similar in that they like don't show you exactly what it is he's remembering, or maybe they do, and that's like Watanabe's style, is he only shows you the imagery, like memories of things that were like a part of the setting but were kind of off to the side, and that's what the person is remembering. When they call like a really negative experience to mind, or a really like a burdensome memory,
they don't remember the memory, they remember like the surroundings
details.
and details.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So like the bike upside down, with the wheels spinning.
Someone crashed, someone got hurt, or
right. Well, we actually see Gold pedaling a bike in the very first scene. We see him pedaling a bike, and the flying machine that Isamu is also pedaling is like propped up on it.
Right.
So that, I guess the bike being upside down and the wheels turning would kind of symbolize the fact that their relationship has been fractured, because the bike is what Gold used to prop up Isamu's machine. They were working together to get it off the ground, but now it's not working anymore. So that's probably after
because we're
the assault on Myung.
Yeah, we're 7 years past that.
So I really do like that style quite a bit of alluding to a character's past without totally filling us in on every little detail. It's a lot more interesting. It leaves the viewer with more questions. It's more, it's a little bit more poetic and more intriguing.
Yeah,
that's cool.
We saw the dude who's working with Sharon Apple's AI in like a laboratory, like a shady laboratory. Like, is he going to try to put the AI into like a grown body or something like that? Like implant the memory into like a test tube person, essentially?
I know I didn't take any notes about that scene, actually, but I remember exactly what you're talking about, because when I was skimming through the second episode in preparation for this podcast, I happened to stumble upon that scene, which I remembered, but then I was like, oh man, this probably has some serious significance to the actual like meat and potatoes of the plot, but it just hasn't cropped up yet exactly how significant it's going to be or in what way.
It's another Ray.
Oh yeah. Like a test tube baby, and who's then cloned a million times.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a meeting with somebody? He like he
exchanges money for like a chip. He
pays and he gets that chip.
Right. And the chip like says something in English on it, like something brain or like high CPU or something.
I think what's going to happen is that's the emotional drive or the emotion program. So he's trying to complete Sharon.
Yeah.
He is probably, if I had to guess, I would say that in addition to that being his job, like programming Sharon and all that stuff, I would say that he's probably like in love with her, in love
somehow. With the AI.
Yeah. And he wants to like complete her, so that he can be with her. That's That's my guess,
Right.
because the show's already leading on Yang's character as having similar tendencies. He's the hacker guy.
Right.
So yeah, I think he's going to try to install that program in Sharon, and something is going to go disastrously wrong.
That, or it'll be like a Deus Ex Machina almost, where she'll come out as a clone of Myung. They'll be almost identical.
But she's an AI. So
Right.
what do you mean by come out? Because there won't be like a physical body.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I mean, he's going to try to like take the program that he built and put it into a cloned body, like a human version.
He might actually,
and she's going to come out with the same personality as Myung, because it's like experiencing, her life and her emotions. It's connected to her like that.
Well, it's just,
so it's
taking a bunch of data from her life.
Right. It's going to fill in the blanks with her life, and it might come out as like the same person almost. Right.
What I'm thinking now that you mentioned that, I'm thinking of a tweaked version of that, a direction that the story could go, where he implants, like he uses Myung's body, and he tries to overwrite her consciousness and just put Sharon's consciousness and the emotional drive in Myung's body. So he just wants to use her as a host for Sharon.
Right.
Like maybe he's developed some kind of obsession with Myung, and that's a way that he could like wipe her slate clean and then put in
a machine.
Yeah, like a version of a human personality that he can then manipulate.
Right. I don't know.
Could go in different directions, but I mean, clearly the tone of that scene where he's having that
is
meeting,
very sinister.
Yeah, it's clandestine. It's foreboding. Something terrible is going to result from whatever chip it is that he's just purchased.
Right, and it's obviously not illegal dealing.
Yeah,
it's just like, put this in my safe deposit box.
Right, when he goes back
People
to the hotel.
People don't put legal things in safe deposit boxes.
Well, you can. I mean, just put like valuables, cash, gold, diamonds.
Diamonds are forever.
Indeed.
So the concert was trippy.
Yes, the concert was trippy. It was cool. It definitely was a lot more psychedelic than I was expecting. I mean, there weren't a whole bunch of like psychedelic visuals, but you could tell from the crowd reactions. A lot of people were kind of like blissed out. It wasn't as though everyone had their glow sticks and they were like cheering for their favorite idol. Yeah,
they were just like, gasping noises.
Some of them were like in awe. It almost seemed like some of them were on a bad trip. Like they were like, I don't know what's going on. But others were just like kind of slumped in their seats, like, whoa.
Far out, man.
Yeah, I have to imagine that was, when you think about episodes of Bebop and Shampoo that have been about drug use, that was probably on Watanabe's mind when he directed the scene. Like, you're at a concert, what do people do at concerts? Oftentimes, substances are getting passed around. So that's probably, we're meant to read into that, or you can if you like.
There's one other, we've covered most of it, but there's one other thing that's worth mentioning. Gold seeming to have a problem controlling his hands.
Yeah, I think that ties into the fact that he can't totally control his aggression. So whenever he's piloting it like comes out.
I don't know if it's that or if being linked with the AI is damaging his mind. Like if it's causing him to lose control of his own body because he spends so much time with his brain not controlling his own, controlling something else.
That might actually be interesting. That's like a direction the story could go in is people assume that it's like his Zentradi blood that is causing him to have to like tamp down these aggressive tendencies, when really that's just like lingering racism. And it's the fact that he's merging with the AI essentially whenever he flies the plane. That's what's causing him to like have these impulses and to struggle to control himself.
I thought it looked more like he physically couldn't stop his hands
Yeah.
Like he was losing motor control.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that is certainly a different thing than aggression, but it can tie in. The image of a hand shaking can tie into
it can,
like a loss of inhibition, which can relate to someone's aggression coming out.
And Isamu is owning gold in the trials quite handily.
Yeah, but who knows what's going to happen, after the cliffhanger in episode 2.
Well, I'll tell you what, we sure don't.
Not yet, but we'll find out next week.
So tune in next time for the end of Macross.
2 more episodes of Yaiba. We'll be up to 12 by that point. The show will be up to 12 by that point.
Right. And then 11 of Carole.
Right. Yep.
That's
See
it.
you then.
Bye-bye.